99.7 The Blitz, your rock station. I'm Lewis, of course, with Tim from Rise Against, Sonic Temple 2024. Did you guys just get in?
Yeah, we got in, late last night, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you woke up to the same rain and dredge that we woke
Yeah,
up to?
it seems like every time there's a festival, there's rain, right?
Right?
Yeah.
It's
But
almost-
I'm happy to see that it's all cleared up.
It's been good, and I saw some of the diehards out here this morning that were already lined up at the front of the stage, so I'm like, okay, I give you real respect for standing there in the rain.
Festivals are no joke. To attend them, to play them, to work them, to set up these stages, no joke.
No, and it's such a process. I watched so many time-lapse videos because I'm fascinated, and I'm like, they do it in a 2-minute time-lapse, but I know that took 2 days.
It's pretty incredible, the fact that every time anybody sees a live show, you have to know that many miracles happen to make that live show happen.
Yes. Now, you guys have played a ton of festival circuits, and you guys actually played one of my bucket list festivals to go to. You guys did Rock AM Ring.
Oh, yeah.
And that crowd, there was so much energy, and it looked like such an insane time. What was that like?
I remember the first time we played Rock AM Ring, I was unaware of the lore of Rock AM Ring.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what we were. It was a time we were touring Europe. I was waking up every day into a tent just like this, catering, and then going on stage, not really knowing where I was. And it didn't occur to me how huge that festival was when we walked on stage. Kind of glad that it didn't, because I would have probably been more nervous. And instead, we just had a great show. And I feel like from that show on, we kind of endeared ourselves to the German crowd. Mm-hmm. And we just played it last summer. We've played it now 3 or 4 times. Just epic energy, epic crowds. Always look forward to it. I feel like it's a big part of our history.
Do you have a favorite track to play live?
Ooh, do I have a favorite track to play live? When we do the song "Give It All," I tend to try to get into the crowd and hang out with them, and that's always a fun time.
The reason I ask is because you guys have a lot of songs that I think a lot of people would consider anthem type tracks, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean that as a stereotype, an insult, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have so many. I would wonder which one gets people energized the most. You know what I mean?
That's a good question. I feel like when we rev it up and play Satellite, that's a one that gets the crowd going. Obviously the bigger ones like Prayer of the Refugee or Savior really get the crowd going. But I love all our songs. They're all kind of like our children. We can't pick a favorite one. But it's fun to watch different crowds react different ways to each song.
See, Savior, I will always have a special place in my heart. But I like Under the Knife.
Ooh, that's funny. We were just talking about that because Under the Knife is a kind of a deep cut.
Yeah.
Off of an older record, and we keep on, they keep on sending us the charts that tell us how well the songs do or have done, and that song keeps creeping its way up the chart against songs that were, powerful radio singles and that kind of thing. And so that song itself, I'm excited to see that the world has kind of found that song just from their own digging, not from us trying to push anybody.
Do you guys feel like, I hate to use the word political because everybody has such a negative connotation with everybody, but do you feel like you guys, there's a level that people come to expect with you guys just because of the nature of the lyrics of your songs and kind of the way you guys have always been a little bit outspoken about things? Do you think that, just people come to expect that a little bit?
Maybe, and we never shied away from it from the time, I grew up in a punk and hardcore scene that was always political and confrontational and singing about the environment and sweatshops and animal rights, and that was kind of the scene that kind of raised me. And so when this band started, it was just already part of my DNA and part of who I am and part of what I was going to do if you put a microphone in my hand. And so confrontation was something that I was no stranger to, and so the band I was going to do was always going to be confrontational in that respect. So I know some bands are either apolitical or that's their thing, and which I totally respect.
Sure,
you know what I mean? That's I don't need my Ramones to be ultra political. I like them just the way they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's something for everybody. For a band like Rise Against, I'm just a guy. When you put a pen in my hand and you ask me to write about the things that I care most about, it's often has to do with how we interact as citizens and as people and as human beings, and how we're going to move forward and how we make life better for us and our kids and the people around us.
But you can't have a name. You can't name your band Rise Against and
is
not be afraid to be outspoken. You know what I mean?
It's so true. And in some ways, I'll be honest, the name was almost arbitrary and it's a name of our band, but we grew into it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It gave us this really lofty goal. If you're gonna call yourself Rise Against,
right?
you got to own up to that now.
And you can't just whisper every time
Yes,
somebody, you know what I mean?
And so we assigned ourselves these huge shoes to fill, you know. And I don't know if we knew it as young people starting the band. I don't know if I knew it, but I watched us grow into this name and this reputation and this kind of thing that we sort of set the bar real high. And now it was like, let's meet that bar.
Do you look back now and realize, because you guys have been at this for a while, are you like amazed that so much time has passed and that you're still able to, you know, go out there and do what you do? Because for all the great bands that are still there are a lot of bands that they had their moment and then that moment goes away. And it's just, you know, you're all of a sudden, instead of playing festival shows, you're lucky if you're able to play a bar anymore. And it's just, you know, it's got to be a great feeling to know that, hey, wow, we started this journey a pretty decent amount of years ago, and we can still do it.
It's something that I appreciate more and more, like, as the time goes on. The longevity of a band, to me, has become more impressive than, like, the flash in the pan, you know. There's so many cool bands out here. I hope every single one of them is still playing 20 years from now. But when I see the ones, you know, the foundation bands like Anthrax, you know what I mean, who've been doing it, I hope I'm doing it as long as Anthrax is doing it. And they're doing something right. If they're out here still playing at the top of their game.
I watched a little bit of their set earlier, and I'm like, they still bring it.
Yeah, and you got young bands like Gel and Scowl and Military Gun that are out here up and coming. And I see ourselves when I watch them play. I see like our younger selves in them. And I know that the world is theirs if they want to keep at it, you know.
Very cool. Rise Against, you guys take the stage a little bit later tonight. Looking forward to it. And, of course, you've got a ton of people out there that are going to be fired up from the first note to the last note. Anything you'd like to tell the fine people of Columbus, OHIO, today?
Let's see. I mean, we just announced a new tour, so we're coming across America in the fall. We are wrapping up our 10th album. Speaking of longevity. Apparently there are still some songs kicking around in us, and so we're getting excited about that too. We've had a pretty quiet year, and we're ready to kind of put the key back in the engine starting at the end of the summer.
Very cool. Tim from Rise Against. Catch them live on the stage at Sonic Temple. You can listen to plenty of their music on 99.7 The Blitz. And, of course, looking forward to hoping you guys come around again in the fall when the tour kicks off again. And best wishes and continued success, man.
Thank you, sir.